everybody. Today I'm just going to do a fairly simple Crazy Charlie type fly, but one more suited for fishing for bonefish or Christmas Island sort of Charlie. But this one I think is also a good fly for things like estuary perch here in Australia. Right, fairly simple. The materials I'm using, that's a size 4 Daiichi 2546. I'm just going to use a small dumbbell eye. This one's got pupils painted on. Some crystal flash, so that's pearl crystal flash. The secret material, this is foxtail. In this case, it's just a dyed white foxtail. And then some silicone legs. So this is the ones with the hot tips. And that's it. The thread I'm using in this case is just a 6/0, and shrimp pink is the colour I've used. So that's it. So get some thread onto the hook shank, and then tie in your eyes. You've seen me tie eyes in plenty of times on videos, but here we go. So a few wraps each side, over, under, and then around. Now I'm just going to push that back a bit, like so. And that's it. And then just check that they're straight on, obviously, and adjust as needed. To make your fly wear a little bit better, and a lot of people have trouble with their eyes spinning on the hook, so I just use a little bit of clear goo just under there, holds the thread in place, stops the eyes moving around the hook shank, so that's on as tight as you're going to get. So that's the first bit. Okay, then the next thing is I'm just going to take some crystal flash and tie it in onto the shank, and then wrap the shank with the crystal flash. So I'm going to use 2 full pieces of flash, and then tie that in. So there you go, 2 pieces of flash. I'm going to tie it in a little behind the eyes, like that. Pull that back, that stops it coming undone. Alright, I'm just going to hold that back there for a sec and tie in a bit of a tail. So for the tail, same thing, is just going to be crystal flash, and don't go overboard. The problem with a lot of people have, especially with Crazy Charlie style flies, is they put too much material on, and it just looks way too bulky. Anyone you talk to that's ever fished Christmas Island or places like Christmas Island always say that the flies that perform the best are the ones that are the sparsest. So keep that in mind, and basically don't overdo the materials. That goes for the wing, it goes for the amount of flash you use, all of those things. So I'm just going to pull this back, tie it in, and trim it to the length, like so. Back to there, so there's the tail in. Okay, then I'm taking these 2 long pieces of crystal flash I tied in, and I'm going to just basically wrap the hook shank with the crystal flash. And you'll see that building the body up. It gives. Now the good thing about the pearl is it sort of goes translucent, so it really accentuates that pink shrimp colour underneath the fly. You can see that sort of built up towards the eyes there, which is what we want. And we're just going to tie that in, like so. Come forward, trim that off so we've got a bit of a body there. The tail out the back. Alright. Then we're going to turn it over. I'm just going to put a couple of strands of crystal flash in. And the crystal flash, I guess, is what ties it all together, attracts the fish a little bit. I've said it before, it's easy to put flash in, it's harder to, it's easier to take flash out, it's harder to put in after the event. So think about that. Alright, look at that. Pull that back. That's that bit. Now I'm just going to get a little bit of fox fur. And like I said, keep it relatively sparse. So don't grab a humongous chunk of fox fur, or you end up with this really bulky looking fly that nothing's going to touch. Alright, and all I'm going to do is tie that in there. You can see it just goes past the bend in the hook. Give that a few wraps. Cut it off at a bit of an angle, and that'll help you with the taper of your fly when you're finishing off the head. Alright, so you can see that's fairly sparse. Alright, and the next bit I'm just going to tie the legs in, and I'm doing a pair either side. Now you don't want too much of the hot tips, so trim it up, but you do want some hot tips. So and this just gives a little bit of colour and looks a little bit like shrimpy legs, so I'm just going to tie them in either side of the hook. So fairly loose, pull it into the side. And I think I've said this before too, when you're using silicone legs or rubber legs in a fly, if you pull the thread tight, it'll make the legs splay out. So nice loose wraps to start off with, and then you can tighten it up once you're happy with the positioning. Otherwise they splay out away from the hook, and that's not what you want to have happen. So in towards the side, fairly loose wraps, that's it. And you can see that sitting nice and flat to the fly rather than splayed out to the side. Trim off the excess, there's a little bit sticking out here, and then just finish off the front of the fly. Nice neat head and the pink. That's it. Whip finish. Pull our materials back. Anything that's sticking up like that, just pull off. And then a little bit of, this is Clear Goo Hydro, but any of the UV glues, this is really thin, so it sinks right into the thread and holds it all in place. That's why I like it. Hit that with the torch. The torch will help highlight anything that's sticking up where it shouldn't be. You can trim some of that off now that the thread's done. And there it is. So a very basic, crazy Charlie style fly, suited to, as I said, if you're going to go and fish for bonefish, but also, well and truly suited for estuary perch when they're in season. So go to it, give that one go. Try. See you guys.